Life can change in an instant. For many wheelchair users, the struggle to push forward is a daily challenge.
After years of development and countless prototypes, we created Rib Grips, the revolutionary wheelchair hand rim covers with built-in ribs for ultimate grip and comfort.
No more slick surfaces, no more heat burns, just pure, reliable grip. Rib Grips, empowering you to push forward with ease. Rib Grips, get a grip on your freedom. Discover the difference. Visit ribgrips.com and use promo code GRIP today. You just found the perfect product that helps with staying cool during hot summer runs. No more gross warm water. Stay cool with this product from Gear Handle. This hydration tube cover helps keep your water cool and easily accessible. Stay hydrated during those long summer runs or even delay from freezing in the winter. Plus, they're compatible with various brands of water bladders and come in various colors. Visit gearhandle.com and use promo code H2O today.
Caroline, you should tell them about the newest thing that Bloody Happy Hour is doing.
A Patreon.
It's a Patreon. What is that?
That means you're basically like a VIP member, and there's 2 different levels that you can, subscribe to, and you get some perks. You maybe get like merch a little earlier. You get
exclusive merch.
You could get first dibs on signing up for a live show. You get episodes with no commercials.
You get our video because our video is no longer available on YouTube. It is only on Patreon. And the most important to me is you get videos of our live shows. So if you are far away and you couldn't make our last live show, it will be on the website. We're going to record this future live show. It's going to be on Patreon, but also bonus episodes each month. You guys tell us all the time you want more episodes. This is a way for you to get more episodes. So you're going to get our basic Tuesday, Thursdays that we always put out, right? But if you're on a Patreon, you're VIP, you're going to get more.
I can't wait to talk about in detail some more stories because I always have a lot of details I want to go to. I can law-splain. I might read a book.
They just unsubscribed. This is also going to be the exclusive place that Dirty Chat is going to go to. So if that is breaking some of your hearts, just go ahead and subscribe now. In order to hear the full content, it's going to be Patreon. Where do they go again?
Patreon.com/BloodyHappyHour.
Don't forget to
stay aware,
stay alive,
and always be DTF.
This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
Hey y'all, I'm April.
And I'm Caroline.
And this
is your Bloody Happy Hour.
Caroline, are you ready for this?
This is your newest guilty pleasure.
It's the bloodiest part of your week.
Did we say something about it also being happy hour?
Show did.
Because we about to be sipping on some murder. Bloody Happy Hour.
Hey y'all, this is April.
And this is Caroline.
Well, nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you as well. What are you sipping on over there, ma'am?
I got
the most expensive tequila-infused can of juice that's small and glorious, but
I feel like this ought to be golden cans. It's so expensive.
Literally, next time
we need some Cashapps and some Venmos. Bloody Happy Hour.
You know what? We're gonna do that again. Okay, so guys, listen up. We need you to buy our shit. If you would like to contribute to our fund of alcohol, because otherwise we don't have to have alcohol. We can just be bloody hour.
Or we're going to start drinking cheap Taka vodka, and that's when people become true alcoholics and stand on Waco Drive.
Yeah, and then that means we're basically going to have to quit the podcast because we're going to be homeless.
Yeah.
And so then it's going to be y'all's fault.
Yeah.
So you can Venmo Bloody Happy Hour, or you can Cash App
Bloody Happy Hour.
Bloody Happy Hour.
Yeah, because
and you can be like, this is just say because like we're thirsty, and that's for to quench our thirst.
Happy Hour funds, because these high noons were $25 plus tax for 8 of them.
I cannot.
I
How
feel like
am I
that was a whole
supposed to
lot.
be
What
an
is that math?
alcoholic when I have to pay that much? I'm going to have to sell my house so I can keep drinking.
That's $3.12 a piece. Oh, it didn't sound that bad when I say $3.12 a piece, but still.
Still. We're supposed to be cheaper when you buy all in bulk.
I know.
Come on now. High Noon.
Okay. Do better, High Noon.
Put a blur over that High Noon.
Do better, High Noon.
I don't even taste the tequila. Tastes like Sprite to me.
Just tastes like flavored Sprite.
Yeah, give me another while you're at it.
Ooh, there's a grapefruit. Do you want a grapefruit?
No.
No le gusta?
Anything but grapefruit.
Oh, you can have passion fruit.
Okay, passion fruit. It's very passionate. So, we are going to Colorado today.
Yay.
Yeah.
What part?
Aurora.
Ooh. Chris Rott's?
Oh, is that where it was?
I think it was.
Maybe. They're probably neighbors. This case actually went viral on TikTok because the killer was so young that whenever she was in her trial, her facial expressions and the things that she was doing was on camera. And so then all these TikTokers went and like were saying like, oh my God, she's so cute. Oh my God, like that person probably deserved it. And like, the comment section was like ratchet. Yeah. And if you look her up,
because she's so pretty.
She was just like, she's a, I don't know if it's Asian or Korean or which one, but she did this thing where she looks at the camera and she points to her eyes and she's like just like does these weird things. If you look her up, you probably will recognize it. Cause when I did it, I was like, oh, that's that chick. Yeah. But her name is Isabella Guzman, Guzman.
Okay.
So she lived with her mom and her stepdad in Aurora, California. And she didn't have the best grades.
What?
She did not have the best grades.
Oh,
no.
She's already a failure when it comes to her
she
culture.
She really had no career aspirations.
What?
Mm-mm. She wasn't like failing, but there was really nothing significant to mention about her. And except for that she had a troubled relationship with her bio parents. So she lives with her mom and they ended up getting divorced, but she just didn't like her parents. She did not like her parents. Okay, great. And this was since she was really, really young. So she was born at hating.
Oh.
She was a born hater. So she's always misbehaving, almost like as if she was a middle child, but she was an only child. So that's just as bad.
Yeah.
Or actually, it's probably worse.
Yeah.
And her parents, they're together. They eventually get divorced. She's still pretty young. She stays with her mother. Her mother's name is Yun-Mi.
You and me.
Yeah. That's what it's Yun-Mi. And it was about when she was 7 years old, her behavior got so bad that her mom sent her to live with her dad. 7.
Oh, wow.
7. Father is Richard. So she had to go live with Richard. And that's a lot of, you're
a lot of
so young.
Well, yeah,
and why are you so bad? See, I think these people it's like the nature versus nurture. Like that's like nature. Like you were literally born that way.
Maybe so.
Maybe.
Unless mama wasn't very nurturing.
Well, here's the thing. Mama was working a lot. Because at this point, she was a single mom.
Yeah.
So Yun-Mi couldn't handle Isabella on her own. And so that's why she went to live because Isabella was just always causing all this trouble. And mom was working all the time. And so She couldn't handle it. But then she went to live with Dad, and Dad was like, no, I ain't doing this. And then Dad sent her back.
No.
Yes. So she eventually comes back home. And, of course, nothing changes. And still does not have a great relationship with her mom. And her parents, her bio parents, they actually still worked together and like had a civil relationship because I think they were like artists. They had like some art studio together and they bought it when they were married and they just kept it because they couldn't afford to like get rid of it, whatever, after their divorce. So they worked together. They were on good terms and just were very supportive of each other.
I like it.
So
You would think she'd be more functional then.
you would think, Isabella, when she was younger, she would like go to the studio and she would help out. She would work there after school. But then she was like, I actually don't like spending time with my parents. So I don't want to do this anymore. So I don't know what got into her, but I think from the beginning she didn't like him and then she tried to like him and then she didn't. So she was very antisocial person in general. And she pretty much just hated her mom because her mom stayed in this job and this job didn't pay well. And basically she was like, she despised her mom because her mom was poor.
Oh.
Yeah. Single mom, but she hates her because she's poor and she doesn't get what her friends get. Even though she doesn't have any friends, she doesn't have the nice house and the nice expensive clothes and the new fun toys and games and all that stuff. So she basically resents her mom for being poor.
She's a bitch.
Yeah.
I don't like her.
She says, why can't I be like the other kids that can afford all this and this and that and this and that? Like, obviously they don't understand because, well, at this point, how old is she in high school? You should know. I don't know.
17.
At what point do you realize like, oh yeah, my parents, I guess if you're like 10, you don't realize it and you're like, oh, why can you not buy me that? They don't understand money and stuff like that. But, she still never realized that. Isabella never did. So she just basically was like, always ungrateful and angry about everything, even when she's older. Like when she was younger, she would throw tantrums, but now that she's gone older, she's starting to be more mischievous and her behavior is starting to become even worse. And this gets into her teenage years and she starts skipping school.
Okay.
And then her attendance is so bad that she just drops out of school. And she did this right before her final exams.
She's a winner.
17. So she was like probably about to graduate. Like literally just take your classes and you're done. Like take your tests and you're done.
But you're ashamed of your mom and you're doing nothing right in your life.
And her parents were obviously super disappointed in her for doing this, for like dropping out of school, which, I mean, obviously she does not care at all because she just cares about herself. But they were like, we understand that school's not for Isabella, but back to what you said is that she wasn't gelling with the school system at all. And
it's their fault.
I mean, yeah. How was it? Yeah. So they were like, you could at least stick it out. She didn't stick it out. She didn't complete the exams. And then she just finally stopped hanging out with her family and she would just spend as little time with them as possible. Anytime she was home, she would just go straight to her room. The only time she would ever see her parents or her mom was when she was having an argument with her mom. So she's like, you come home. Well, I guess she's not coming home from school anymore because school's over. And just sees her, yells at her, and goes to her room. So it's like, this is horrible. This kid is like such a bad person. So several of these arguments stemmed from Isabella sneaking boys into the house. So she would invite So she would invite the boys over. They let them in the back door. And then they would leave. They would climb out the window, the bedroom window.
She did let them in the back door.
And they run across the garden, jump over the fence at the end of the garden. Almost every single time, You-Mi would see these boys jumping over the fence into the garden.
Crushing her tomatoes.
Crushing her tomatoes. So that was just one little part of Isabella just disrespecting Mama's rules. There's not too much out there about her background and like all the other things, but the way that that family and friends of family describe Isabella, it's just basically that she was, they had always had this tough relationship for no reason, and that it was blamed on that mom had a low income paying job.
Wow.
And of course, Isabella goes and then she tries to spin it by saying that she was abused.
Oh.
Yeah. So she spent so little time at home. Well, mom, because she was working, she had this job. She was not at home a lot because she was always working late, working so many hours, trying to just do the most for her kid and whatever. She finally starts dating this guy, Ryan Hoy, Mama does, and they end up getting married. So now Isabella's even more pissed because Mama's name is now Yun-Mi Hoy, and she's thinking that this guy has replaced her dad, and bitch, you don't even like your dad.
You don't even like your daddy.
So she was like, she just said how ungrateful her mom is, and she's so horrible, and she's replacing their dad, and that.
I hope
this
they
and
have
this
a
and
kid and
this.
replace her.
Right? I know.
They should.
So she was not very happy because this is Isabella's world. And now she hates not only mom, but she hates stepdad too, because he was the replacement guy. So they would get into randomly like just arguments about anything. And sometimes you could say they were like physically violent, but I don't know if spitting on somebody is physically violent. But that's just like,
it's gross.
that's just like,
Slap me, don't spit on me.
yeah, that's, I don't know what you would describe that as, but that's
So
just
she
like
would spit on
low.
them?
Isabella would spit on her mom. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't think she like punched or kicked or hit or whatever, but she definitely spit on her, which is very disrespectful. I'm like, I don't know. If you spit on me, I'm not paying for you to live in my house, ma'am. Huh. So it eventually escalated, and it got to the point to where she was sending her mom threatening texts and emails saying that her mom's going to pay for threatening her like this one day. I don't know what she's threatening her about. I guess don't spit on me or you're going to be kicked out of the house. Whatever. This girl's crazy. She's like, oh, you're going to pay for treating me like this one day. And she was constantly making these violent threats towards her mom. And then Mama Yumi was like, she was like legit scared. Like she was kind of terrified of her own daughter. She knew that Isabella was not giving hollow threats and that she knew that she would act out on these threats.
Wow, she knew her daughter was evil.
She did. She actually, and one time she called the police because she was getting, like, the threats were getting so violent. She genuinely believed that Isabella was going to follow through with whatever she was saying. But she never did.
Oh.
At that point. But who knows? Maybe she would have if the police would have not gotten involved. I don't know. So Isabella, she tells her childhood story a little differently. This is where she says that when she was around 9 or 10 years old, that's when she started getting abused.
By who?
She didn't say. Her mother and her stepfather, apparently.
Oh, they were running trains on
because they were Jehovah's Witnesses.
What were they trying to do? Make her go to church on Saturday?
Maybe they were trying to get her to go around the neighborhoods with a backpack on a bicycle.
I
don't know. But her mother and stepdad were both Jehovah's Witnesses, and Dad Richard was also Jehovah's Witness. So this means, which Jehovah's Witness is a branch of Christianity, and they go around on bicycles and with a black backpack, and they try to
in their suits
convert you. Yes. And their helmets, because they always practice safety.
Safe.
So Isabella was raised like as Jehovah's Witness, but then when she was 14, she started to pull away. She's like, I don't like that. She decided that religion was not for her. Okay, I mean, I don't blame you for making your own decision. You're kind of young, but I mean,
Yeah.
you know, you can, that's your choice, but okay. It wasn't working for her. The views did not align with her.
Love it. Come to
Great.
Christianity.
Yeah. So she
real
told
one.
her parents that she no longer wanted to be a Jehovah's Witness and she no longer wanted to go to church with them or anything. And then she said that's when the abuse worsened. And like I said, this is just what Isabella said. There's no evidence, like there's no pictures. There's no sources confirming this type of abuse happened, but this was her story and she stuck to it.
Okay.
This is what she said when she was in court. Okay. So just know she does go to court for something.
Okay.
So people, you know, whoever the people, whatever, they're like, okay, this is the story that she came up with, likely to gain sympathy, maybe to get a smaller prison sentence for maybe what you might do later on that you might find out about in just a few minutes. And maybe it could be that there's some psychological issues going on here.
Obviously.
And maybe, or
She's a
maybe she was trying to
narcissist.
feign or fake insanity in some way. Okay. So, like, yeah. So a lot of people seem to think that the reason that they seem to think that she's faking this stuff or making this stuff up because this has never been mentioned at any point at any time in her life, ever, except for when she's in court for this bad thing she did. So
Kind of like
maybe she was trying to get some kind of insanity plea deal. Maybe.
or sympathy. She's pulling a
Sympathy.
Casey Anthony.
Exactly.
Yes.
So another theory for where this scenario came from was that this story was big on TikTok. It went TikTok viral. And in a lot of the comments, they were talking about how they were like, oh, I feel so bad for her. Like she was abused and she was this and the person deserves what happened to them. And all of this stuff is in these comments. So it's like, we think that's probably where that narrative came from. And maybe she saw it and then went with it or whatever.
Okay.
Or maybe she started it. Who knows? So August 28, 2013, Isabella Guzman, let's call her Gunman, stepfather Ryan called the police to let them know that an incident happened with Isabella and her mother. And this was another one of Isabella's threatening texts or emails. And it was followed by a serious argument. And then Isabella had gone to the bedroom that night. She wrote an email to her mom telling her that she was going to pay for what she did. And yeah, for what she did to her that night. And her actual words were that she was going to make up for what she had done. Okay, great. So since this family is now terrified by whatever these emails are saying that she's threatening them, they're like they were just like, okay, well, we're obviously calling the police. And so Yun-Mi had also gotten in contact with, so then Yun-Mi calls Richard and is like, this is going on. Here's whatever the email said or this threatening letter that she sent. And I think that you need to come to the house, pick her up and just like talk to her because she is like losing it. And she's scaring the shit out of me, basically is what she's saying. So dad comes over, her and Isabella and Richard, they go to the garden or whatever, where the tomatoes are, tomato garden. And they talk. And Isabella's like, I just can't put up with her anymore. And I just, I can't stand her and blah, blah, blah. But then Richard, dad, is trying to talk sense into her. And he just sat there and they talked about all kinds of things. They talked about a relationship, like what needs to change, how they're feeling. He's like, you're 18 years old now. And you're old enough to live by yourself.
Get out.
And your mom has every legal right to kick you out of that house. And you can be homeless if you don't follow your mom's rules. And he basically told her that. kind of to like scare her a
And
little
you
bit.
can't live with me because...
And you can't live with me because I'm too busy. So they talked for like an hour. And then, you know, Richard finally like takes her back to the house and he's like, I really think she's going to make some positive changes. Like he really thought he finally thought he got through to her.
Okay.
He really did. Richard really did. And he told Mama, Yun-Mi that they sat in the garden and they were just with nature. They were watching the birds and watching the trees, probably smoking weed. I don't know. No, they weren't. But it was like one of the nicest moments he has ever had with his daughter.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And then?
He said he felt like he saw the good person in her. He saw that she was going to change and that they were going to have like good Isabella back. Like they're going to have her back. Like she's got this. And then they would move forward from that point. They're like, everything will get better. It's going to be great. Family would get closer. However, he could not have been more wrong. Typical man.
Did he pull a Grant Amato?
Well, it's kind of. This was actually all an act from Isabella. And inside of her head the whole time, she was having her own conversation with her father, and she was basically saying that she was telling him what he wanted to hear. I'm going to change. I'm going to do things differently. But in her head, she's like, hell no, I already got my shit planned out and I got my next move. And it wasn't before just a few hours later that she put her plan into motion.
What is it?
That evening, Isabella spends the rest of her night in her bedroom, which she pretty much did every day of her life anyways. But then it was around 9:00 that Yun-Mi, mama got home from working all day. She goes and tells husband, she's like, hey, I'm going to go take a shower and then I'm going to go to bed. And he's like, all right, I'll see you up in the bed. And so whatever. So he's downstairs. He's like, okay, she's turning on the shower and whatever. And then everything's fine. And then all of a sudden he hears like this thud coming from upstairs. But it was like followed by all this commotion, like all whatever, banging, muffled yelling, screams. So he like jumps up, he runs upstairs. As soon as he gets to like the bathroom door, it's almost like he gets there and it slams shut. And it was Isabella who slammed the door shut.
Yes.
In his face. And he only caught it for a split second, but that second he saw Isabella slamming the door in his face. And Mama was still inside the bathroom in the shower. Both of them were alone. Ryan obviously was a little bit of a soy boy because he tried to open the door and he could not open the door and she overpowered him.
What?
She is tiny. So Ryan must be real tiny. Because it's like Ryan struggled to get the door open. Isabella was too strong and fully overpowered him and locked the door so he couldn't get in.
She was a bit psychotic.
That's true.
Time.
He starts shouting, screaming from the outside, telling her to stop what you're doing, leave your mother alone. But she keeps going, and all he can hear is repeated thuds and banging and screaming, muffled screaming. And he can hear his wife, Yun-Mi, calling his name. And
he don't kick down the door? Ryan?
I know. And half of this is on 911 call. And I'm like, Ryan, are you even a living person? Like, you go get a fucking, like, you don't have a hammer? You don't have some kind of tool?
Kick it in.
Is this like a locked safe door bathroom? Like, no, it's not a safe room.
Is this a bank vault?
And yeah, so she calls out for him. Then he goes and runs downstairs to get the phone to call 911 because I guess he's not even going to try to kick down the door. So he finally gets back upstairs. The screams were dying down.
Because she's dying too.
Because she did. And he was on the phone with 911 when he sees a pool of blood coming from underneath the bathroom door.
What did she do? Stab her.
So this blood is slowly leaking out from under the door. He then heard his wife mutter what would be her last words, which was Jehovah.
Jireh.
Jehovah Jireh.
Oh my
Jireh.
goodness.
And then there was silence. All the banging and the screaming completely stopped. So at this point, he's still on the phone with 911. He's totally panicked, terrified, scared for his life. He's traumatized after hearing all of this stuff and blah, blah, blah. Because he basically had to listen to her die because he couldn't kick the door down or even push it open.
Oh my goodness.
So all of a sudden, the bathroom door unlocks and swings open.
Oh, she walks
Here
out
comes
normal.
Isabella just walking out like she just got out of the shower.
She feels so accomplished. I can't finish high school, but I can kill my mama.
Yep. You know, she just is standing in the doorway. She's covered in blood. She's wearing a pink sports bra and blue shorts. She's covered in blood. She's holding a knife in her hand. The blood is still dripping off of the knife. And Ryan is frozen because he's like, I'm about to die. And, you know, he can't move. He can't move at this point because he's, God bless. He thought he was next. But all she did was just look straight ahead and she just walked on off. She didn't even look at him. She just looked straight ahead. Didn't say a thing. Walked right past him, walked downstairs. And
where did she go? In her room?
Nope, she didn't. She went downstairs. She left.
Oh, she left.
She just walked out.
Okay.
She's like, oh, my work here is done. So he said it was obviously so weird. She had this like sinister, evil look on her, like just a totally different.
She was possessed.
Yeah. He was like, it was not Isabella walking out of that door.
Oh my
It looked
goodness.
nothing like her. But she acted like it was no big deal. And that's what was so eerie about it, is that how she was so unaffected by what she had just done. And especially to the person who birthed her.
I believe it.
So Ryan goes into the bathroom, husband Ryan, to do whatever he could to help Yun-Mi. But it was too late because at this point, she's lying there naked, covered in blood. He tried to do CPR, chest compressions, and he said he just hurt, like stared blank. Like she stared at him, but it was like a blank, like you're dead stare, like a death.
Yeah, you're just pushing blood out more.
But why did the damn 911 people make you do it? They're like, dudes. Well, I go back to Ellen Greenberg whenever they're like, well, do CPR. And he's like, okay, wait. Oh no, there's a knife sticking out of her chest. Yeah. Oh no, she's bleeding. Like, well, first, that's a whole different story. But anyways, at that point, if somebody's been stabbed or they have a knife sticking out, I don't know what CPR is, or if they've been shot in the head.
Yeah.
Can you still, whatever. I get confused. Anyway, chest compressions. She just was staring blankly. He knew that she was already gone. There was blood everywhere. She was barely recognizable because of the wounds she had endured to her face and to her neck. The autopsy found that Yun-Mi Hoy had been stabbed 79 times. And that's only in the face and the neck area. That's like not even below. That's just
she was
neck
possessed by
and
the
face.
devil. She had
anger. It was a frenzied attack, pure emotion, hate, anger, rage, or possession. But it's so even when because you get like so tired, right? Like you get, I can only imagine stabbing 10 stabs and I'd be exhausted.
Yeah.
Much less 79. But I guess you get that adrenaline. She had so much rage and emotion pent up. Like she hated her mom so much, she didn't even care. So there's also this other, well, this is probably TikTok source, that they were saying there was 151 injuries.
Gosh.
But then we're like, okay, the trusted sources say that there's 79, but it could have been that because they ended up finding out that she had 31 stab wounds to the face, 31.
Oh my goodness.
48 to the neck region. And that she was also beaten with a baseball bat.
Where did she get a bat?
I don't know. And I don't know if maybe that's where, if she did it, they didn't know if she beat her with the bat before she died or after she died.
That's how she got her down.
Or so then maybe those were the extra, were the extra injuries. So she's like, I don't know.
And she was just calling for soft boy Ryan, and Ryan was just, sorry.
Oh no, I can't do it.
It's the door's locked.
There's a jam. Bitch, I'm gonna need you to just get into that door. He didn't want to get hurt. I'm so sorry. Ryan Hoy. So, I mean, and you know the deal. Whenever you go for the face, it's personal.
Yes.
She
hated her mom.
Like you are killing to kill, like specifically you want her to look, because that's like your face. Especially if you kill, like in your funeral, like you cannot have your funeral with your face like that.
And the fact that you didn't even try to do anything to him.
At all.
So it was just your mom. That was your plan. That was your target. You were done. You were satisfied. Okay, where'd she go?
So then they, two difference of thingies. I already said that. But so the police, okay, so now they're like, okay, where is that police called, whatever. She's gone. They're out looking for her because they're like, there's this 18-year-old. She's wearing this and she has a knife with her and she's dangerous because if she did this to her mom, who knows what the hell else she's going to do. And so, and like, they're like the community, you never know. Somebody could just be outside. It could be an Austin Harif situation where you just like,
bite somebody's stomach off.
So she fled the house, obviously before the police and EMS got there. And they ended up getting, I think it said that, she was spotted. Somebody was in a parking garage and they saw a person in a car and they called police because they thought they saw, they're like, hey, I'm in this parking garage and there's like a dead body in this car over here. Police go check it out and it's Isabella in her car, but she's sleeping.
She's just bloody. She's tired.
She's tired.
She's tired.
She's in the same clothes. She's got blood all over her. She didn't change clothes. She didn't wash off the blood. She just was like, man, I'm tired after all that.
Sleeping with peace.
Sleeping with peace in the car. And police show up and there was no resisting. She just was like, yeah. So they find her, didn't take anything to get her in. They take her obviously to the hospital first because they got to check her injuries because she has injuries from the knife stabbings because there was so much freaking blood that your hand slips down the knife and then you end up cutting your own hands. Oh. You know how that happens with the slippage?
Aiden Fucci.
Well, and that's what they're talking about with Koberger is they're like, well, does he have any injuries? Because if there's that much blood and you stabbed and killed 4 people, how does your hand not slip?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, sometimes there's that guard if it's a certain type of knife, but otherwise, if you're stabbing and you're bloody everywhere, your hand slips. That happens a lot, apparently. So she went and she got all of her stuff checked out. And then that's whenever she was released from the hospital and she went straight to the police department to get interviewed. And that is whenever, let's see. Yeah. So that's whenever they actually find some other evidence near the car, but I couldn't find what it was, like whether it was any kind of clothes or the bat or the knife. Like they didn't really say, but they just had found extra evidence by the car. I don't know. And she ends up hospital, gets cleared, goes to the police station. They start asking her questions. They also give her a psychiatric evaluation because this is unlike anything they have seen in Colorado in a long time.
Something else happened there. I don't think it was Chris
I don't know.
Watts.
There's like this girl named like JonBenet Ramsey. Was like
that's Boulder.
Well, it's still Colorado.
Something happened to Aurora. I think it was that shooter in the movies. That's what it was.
Oh.
Yeah.
So it's clear that any human being, given the like having the ability to do this like vicious attack, like there had to have been like some level of psychological issues or mental issues, you would think, right? Like, wouldn't you I would think, like, how do you, because it's almost like you just go like to your other personality. And the evaluation came back and she was diagnosed with schizophrenia.
No. I don't believe it.
She's been having delusions, both audio and visual. So she was seeing things and hearing things for years leading up to this.
Oh, was she?
And she would also hear voices, which, you know, that's the most stereotypical thing about being a schizophrenic is you hear voices, which they do hear voices if you really are. But you can also say you hear voices when you don't, and you can be faking it. And she just said that it manifested and she would hear people telling her what to do and who she like that she needed to kill someone. And she believed that her mother was actually a woman named Cecilia.
What did Cecilia do to her?
She just knew that she was told to kill Cecilia by the voices in her head. She had to kill Cecilia in order to save the world. And Cecilia was an evil being, and Isabella had to kill Cecilia so she could save everybody else.
What?
She would see things, and she would see people coming to speak to her about Cecilia and, you know, all the things. I mean, obviously, Cecilia was not her mom's name. And so whenever
a real doctor said this,
and all the,
and you know what? The doctors are smart enough to not
this is part of what made all this stuff go viral.
I know. Those doctors are smart enough to not get fooled. So she had to have been at least semi-convincing, or it had to be true.
I feel like she was probably like definitely a sociopath. Like she felt no emotion and anything. And
but it's hard to fake crazy when you're I mean, it's hard to fake all these personalities when you're a sociopath.
I know. I don't know. Because the way that she acted in court, she was just like, she was smiling and she was not genuine. But then like sometimes like killers do that psycho smile, but it wasn't like that. It was like a sarcastic, like at the cameras. And then she did this whole thing where she was like, I don't know. You got to look it up. Isabella Guzman. And so this is like kind of how she would communicate to the cameras, shaking her head. Like either she was shaking her head saying like, no, stop watching me, or like, no, I'm not crying. That's kind of what all the TikTokers thought about it. So a lot of these clips from these court appearances were posted all over TikTok, and she started to get this fan base, and the people were like recreating the courtroom appearances and stuff like that, putting music behind it, making edits. And then there was this like one that went really viral that in the background, the song was like Sweet But Psycho, like, oh, she's sweet but a psycho. Yes. And
the things we get obsessed with.
It's so bad because it's like, we know these, like, and we do it like.
Yes, guilty. So you can't, I mean, like, obviously these are real cases, they're real tragedies, they're real families, but sometimes it's just, you know, it is what it is. So anyway, for Isabella's trial, if she was found guilty, she could potentially face death penalty because she was 18 at the time. Please do.
But right before her plea, her defense team decided to take the very expected approach of pleading insanity. So Isabella said that she was not guilty because she is not mentally sound. And she said that she was in a completely different psychological state when she killed her mother. She said she's nowadays talking. She said that since she's hated her mom back then, and She doesn't know why she did what she did. She looks at that girl, that 18-year-old girl that killed her mother, and she says she doesn't even recognize her.
Oh, they never do.
Mm-mm. So her plea was accepted and she was found not guilty by reason of insanity.
Where's she at?
However, because of the insanity plea, she was sentenced to an indefinite amount of time in a psychiatric facility. So that means she's going to be put on a psychiatric hospital and she can be kept there potentially for the rest of her life or until professional psychiatrics determine that she's better, which in that case, basically, if you get out, then you just stop taking your meds and you go get back and doing all your crazy stuff.
Yeah, and do it again.
So she's currently in the Colorado Mental Health Institute, which I still don't believe those exist. And she is potentially there for the rest of her life, like I said, but she's tried to appeal this a couple of times because she believes that she's ready to be integrated back into society.
No.
She's been on medication for a long time. She's 25 years old now, and she believes that she's ready to get back out there, and she's not the same person that she was when she was 18.
And she wants to get on Tinder and date.
Absolutely. I think it would be unlikely. This is what I wrote myself. I was like, I think it'll be unlikely that she gets let out of a psychiatric facility for a long, long time. Because it's as simple as like just stopping your meds and you go right. If you do have, if you are bipolar or schizophrenic, like, and you just stop taking your shit because you're like, oh, I feel fine. Like, that's what they always do.
That's what the teacher did that shot her kid 10 times down the road in Riesel. So.
And who knows what this bitch would be capable of when she's older. So she had, something was wrong. Like she was a bad seed, right? Yeah, she was for sure a bad seed.
So there had to have been some type of chemical imbalance from the beginning. So we got to give her that because you clearly described a bad seed. Nature. Bad nature.
Yes, that's what I thought too. I'm going to show you this. That is the story about the famous TikTok killer, Isabella Guzman.
I think she needs to go to jail.
I do too.
Real jail. Good story. Never heard of it. I've never even seen her on TikTok.
I thought, well, because I think it was from such a long time ago, like 2013, I think I said.
What? TikTok wasn't even born then.
Well, shit. Maybe it's 2023 then. But, maybe that was when she was born. But I do know that I had to look to see if I had covered this case because I'd seen that and I've heard about the case before, and I was like, did one of us tell the story? Because I can't keep up.
Never heard of it. So but there's a lot of different TikTok ones that I've seen, but I've never heard of that one.
Yeah.
Love it, love it, love it. And there's your second episode of a kid going crazy and killing a parent or two.
Yeah.
Just because they're, for no reason. A good parent. Killing good parents.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hate it. Okay. Well, take a drink and we will see y'all next week for a whole new week of Bloody Happy Hour. Send this episode to a friend. And tell them to listen to some more episodes. It was in 2013. Okay. So then TikTok just got a hold of it late. Or the trial. Maybe the trial was later.
True.
Don't forget to
stay aware.
Stay alive.
And always be DTF.
Bye, y'all.
Goodbye.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production. Are you a podcaster? Let's talk podcast hosting. Are you tired of your current podcast host? Need real support in a community that gets it? At Rogue Media Network, we offer top-tier podcast hosting services to help you thrive. From hosting and distribution to dedicated support, we've got you covered. Starting as low as $25 a month. Join our community of passionate podcasters today. Contact us at hello@roguemedianetwork.com.